Hello and welcome to the Alpha Edge Podcast, the show for men over 50 who refuse to fade out, slow down, play small, or settle for average. I'm your host, Kevin English. I'm a healthy aging expert, coach, and founder of the Alpha Edge, and I am here to help you get and stay strong in every dimension of your life, physically, mentally, emotionally, morally, and spiritually. You're here because you're ready to reclaim your power, to own your masculinity, and lead your life with strength and purpose. If you're ready to sharpen your edge, revive your drive, and lead like a man who's built for more, you're in the right place. All right, men, let's get after it. All right, men, let's start with a cold, hard truth that most men don't want to face. Your testosterone levels, they're probably in the gutter. And no, it's not just getting older. It's not because you're lazy or past your prime. It's because we're living in a world that's quietly and systematically stripping men of their power. Let me hit you guys with a stat that should make every single one of you sit up just a little bit straighter. Back in 2007, a study was published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, and they found that men's testosterone levels have been declining steadily by about 1% per year since the 1980s. So let's do a little bit of math on that. That means a 60-year-old man in 2004 had 17% less testosterone or lower testosterone levels than a 60-year-old in 1987. 17%. That's not a glitch. That's a full-blown hormonal collapse. And fellas, it's still dropping, and it's dropping precipitously. Now, here's where it gets personal. If you're a dude over 50 and you have been feeling sluggish and drained, even after a full night's sleep, like your workouts aren't working anymore, or that stubborn belly fat just won't budge, or maybe your sex drive is, let's just say it's on a long vacation, or maybe you're snapping more, maybe you're a little more irritable, maybe you're foggy, unmotivated, feeling flat, then I've got news for you. It's probably not your age, it's probably your hormones. Specifically, testosterone, your master male hormone, the one responsible for your energy, your strength, your drive, your muscle, your mood, your libido, and yes, even your confidence, has likely been declining under your nose for decades. And look, most of us never saw it coming. Why? Because we were told it's normal, that this is just what happens when you get older. That's bull. What's normal today is a generation of men who are soft, tired, anxious, and flatlined. That might be average, but it sure as hell ain't optimal or normal. And brother, I don't want normal for you. I don't want normal for me. I want dangerous for you guys. So let's reframe this right now. You're not broken. You're not done. You're not a washed up version of your younger self. You're just underpowered. Your tank is low, not empty. Your fire is smoldering, not out. And the good news is you can reignite it. Most guys still have a fully functioning hormonal engine under the hood. They just haven't been giving it the right fuel. And in just a minute, we're going to talk about exactly what that fuel looks like. But first, we need to take a look under the hood and see what's been draining your testosterone in the first place. Because make no mistake, there is a war. Every man over 50 needs to know who and what he's fighting. So guys, let's jump into it. Okay, so let's say you do the responsible thing. You're feeling off, low energy, low sex drive, low motivation, and you go see your doctor. You get some blood work done, you're hoping for some answers, you're hoping for a plan, and your doctor glances at your results, shrugs, and says something like, well, your testosterone's in the normal range, you're just getting older. And just like that, you're dismissed. Conversation over. But here's the deal. Normal doesn't mean jack. Because the normal range that they're referring to, it's usually somewhere between like 250 and 100, I think it's nanograms per deciliter for total testosterone. Now, let me ask you this. Do you really want to be measured against a population of sedentary, overweight, overstressed, undermuscled, underslept, microwave meal-eating men? Because that's the average. That's who sets the curve. And spoiler alert, most of them feel like crap too. So yeah, you might be normal, but normal is tired. Normal is foggy. Normal has zero sex drive and can't get through the day without caffeine and sugar. You don't want normal. You want optimal. And for most men over 50, optimal testosterone is not 320. It's in the 700 to 900 plus range with high free testosterone, that's the form your body can actually use, and a healthy estrogen balance. Now, here's where it gets worse. Most general practitioners don't even test free testosterone. They don't test SHBG, that's the hormone that binds to testosterone and it makes it unusable. They don't check estradiol or DHEA or LH or FSH, all of which give us clues to how our body's producing and regulating hormones. Nope, just one number on one lab. And if you're not literally flatlining, then they tell you you're fine. But you're not fine. You're underpowered. And this is where I want to make something crystal clear. If you're sitting there with low energy, no drive, no edge, if you're watching your belly grow and your motivation shrink, if your doc tells you that you're fine but you feel like hell, that's a red flag, not a dead end. So what do? You get a second opinion, but not just from any white coat with a prescription pad. You need a functional medicine practitioner, preferably someone who looks at the whole picture and maybe even specializes in men's health. Someone who isn't just checking boxes or matching you to a drug. Someone who knows how to optimize naturally. This kind of doctor is going to look at things like your nutrition, your training, your recovery, your stress, your lifestyle, your environment. And they don't treat symptoms, they treat systems. They don't try to patch you up with gels or shots. They help you get your edge back from the inside out. Because here's the truth, men, you don't need a script. You need a strategy and a coach or doctor who actually understands how to help you execute it. This isn't about chasing numbers on a lab report. It's about reclaiming your fire, your vitality, your masculinity. And now you know the system is broken, let's stop playing by its rules. Because next up, we're going to break down the real enemies of your testosterone, and trust me, they're closer than you think. Okay guys, time to get real. If your testosterone is tanked, it's not just because you're getting older. It's because you've been living in a world that's been systematically draining you of your manhood for years, and you didn't even see it coming. Modern life is a slow motion castration. And unless you wake up and fight back, it's only going to get worse. Let's break down the top 5 testosterone killers, the ones robbing you of your strength, drive, and masculine edge. Okay, number 1 testosterone killer is crappy food. Guys, know this. Crap food equals crap hormones. Let's call this what it is. If your diet looks like protein bars, low-fat yogurt, seed oils, processed meat, soda, and beer every night, you're not eating like a man. You're eating like a domesticated house pet, and your hormones are paying the price. Your body builds testosterone from cholesterol and fat, not from kale, rice cakes, and artificial sweeteners. Ultra-processed foods are going to jack up your insulin, they're going to crush your gut health, and they're going to introduce estrogenic toxins that throw your entire hormonal system out of whack. Here's your new mantra. Eat real food. Eat like a man. Fuel the fire or watch it burn out. Number 2 testosterone killer is your sedentary lifestyle. If you spend most of your day in a chair and your workouts look like jogging in circles or hopping around with 2-pound dumbbells, you're not training like a man. You're not sending your body the right signal. Movement is non-negotiable, but not just any movement. Chronic cardio, that spikes cortisol and chews through muscle. Not training at all, that tells your body, I'm done, I'm weak, I'm dying. But when you lift heavy, sprint hard, and move often, you're going to send a different kind of message. I'm strong, I'm dangerous, I'm not going anywhere, and your hormones are going to respond accordingly. Okay, number 3 testosterone killer is poor sleep. Know this, guys, poor sleep equals hormonal suicide. Listen to this. Just 1 week of sleeping 5 hours a night can slash testosterone levels by up to 15%. Let that sink in. You could be eating perfectly and training like a beast, but if you're sleeping like garbage, you're driving with the brakes on. Sleep is where your testosterone is built, especially in the deep phase of sleep. If you're binging Netflix until midnight, scrolling your phone in bed, or waking up groggy every single day, you're not just lazy, you're hormonally handicapped. Fix your sleep, make it a priority, or stop wondering why you feel like crap. All right, number 4 testosterone killer is chronic stress. Guys, chronic stress equals hormonal kryptonite. Stress used to mean things like running from a lion. Today, it's email overload, traffic jams, financial pressure, social media doom scrolling, and never shutting your brain off. When stress becomes chronic, your body produces cortisol, and cortisol is testosterone's arch enemy. High cortisol tells your body we're in danger. Now's not the time to build muscle, have sex, or chase greatness. We just need to survive. Here's the truth. Stress isn't optional, but staying stressed is. You've got to create calm on purpose. Walk, breathe, journal, lift heavy, get sunlight, or keep letting life rob you of your fire one drip at a time. And the number 5 testosterone killer are environmental toxins. Look, environmental toxins are literally everywhere, and you could be doing everything right. But if you are spraying chemicals on your armpits, drinking from plastic bottles, nuking food in Tupperware, and lathering your body in cologne and parabens, you're taking in xenoestrogens. These are chemical compounds that mimic estrogen in your body and flatline your testosterone. They're called endocrine disruptors for a reason. These things are everywhere. They're in things like your scented body wash and your aftershave. They're in non-stick pans, your tap water, in air fresheners, cologne, even in your receipts. Look, you don't need to live in a cave, but you do need to wake up. Make some smart swaps. Stop feeding the enemy because you can't out-train a toxic environment. So here's the bottom line, guys. Your testosterone didn't just fall off a cliff. It's been slowly suffocated by a modern lifestyle that rewards comfort, convenience, and conformity. But now you see it. Now you know. And the beautiful thing about testosterone, it responds pretty quick. Give your body what it needs, remove what's draining it, and watch what happens. Your strength comes back. Your fire reignites. Your masculinity returns. Okay, guys, so there's your testosterone killers. Let's start to build a battle plan. Let's talk about how to fuel your body like a high-performance testosterone-making machine. Testosterone isn't built on rice cakes and rabbit food. It is forged in steak, salt, and sunlight. So let's go, man. Now that we've exposed the silent killers of your testosterone, let's talk about how to bring it back from the dead. How are we going to resuscitate your testosterone levels here? Because here's the truth. Most men don't have a testosterone production problem, they have a raw materials problem. Your body isn't broken, it just doesn't have what it needs to do its job. And job number 1 for restoring your edge is to fuel like a man. So let's break this down. I got 5 steps for you guys for fueling like a man. And step number 1 is eat real food that builds hormones. Forget all the low-fat, calorie-counting Weight Watchers crap, right? You're not trying to lose 5 pounds for swimsuit season. You're trying to reclaim your masculinity. That means you need to give your body what it actually craves: dense, powerful, nutrient-loaded food. Here's your testosterone-building grocery list. Whole eggs. Yes, guys, eat the yolks. Red meat. Grass-fed and grass-finished if possible. Wild-caught fish and seafood, especially your fatty fishes. So those are going to be things like salmon, sardines, and mackerels. Avocados, nuts, seeds, olive oil. Your cruciferous veggies. These are things like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and fruit. Yeah, fruit. Fruit is not your enemy. So along with those foods, you're going to want some high-quality salt and water. Plenty of good water. So eat these like your edge depends on it, because it does. This isn't a diet. This is a declaration of war against the forces that want you weak. Step number 2 when it comes to eating like a man is to dial in your macros like a warrior. If you're not familiar, your macros are your macronutrients. That's your proteins, your fats, and your carbs. But I want you guys to just forget all of the macro bro science. Here's what really matters. Protein builds muscle. It supports recovery and powers hormone production. So I want you guys to shoot for 1 gram of protein per pound of your goal body weight. So for example, if you're a 200-pound dude and you want to weigh 180, you're going to eat about 180 grams of protein per day. Similarly, if you're a 180-pound dude and you wish you were a 200-pound dude, you're going to aim for 200 grams of protein each and every day. Next up is fat, and this is where testosterone is born. Your body makes testosterone from cholesterol. No fat equals no testosterone. Aim for at least 20 to 30% of your daily calories from healthy fats. And then finally, carbs. Carbs are not your enemy, guys. Carbs help lower cortisol, they fuel workouts, and they keep your tea humming along, especially useful around training time. I want you guys to choose smart sources of carbs. These are going to be things like fruit, rice, veggies, potatoes, oats. The takeaway here in step number 2 is to eat enough, eat with purpose, and stop starving your manhood. Step number 3 to eating like a man is to feed your micronutrient machine. Look, you could be eating enough calories and still be deficient in T-boosting nutrients. Make sure you are locked in on these 3 critical non-negotiables here. Number 1, zinc. You're going to find zinc in red meat, certainly in oysters, and in things like pumpkin seeds. Number 2, magnesium. You're going to find magnesium in things like leafy greens, dark chocolate, that's the kind without the sugar, guys, and almonds. And then, of course, vitamin 3. Your best source of vitamin 3 is going to be sunlight, but you're going to find vitamin 3 in things like egg yolk and fatty fish. And you might even want to consider a high-quality supplement. I personally use vitamin D plus K2 from a company called Thorne, Thorne. But guys, these are non-negotiables if you want your hormonal engine running hot. Now, a pro tip here, most guys are chronically low in both magnesium and vitamin T. You guys fix that and you're going to unlock better sleep, more energy, and higher testosterone. Step number 4 in eating like a man is to cut the testosterone killers from your plate. You could be eating well, but if you're still feeding your system garbage, you're playing both sides. Here's what to cut out immediately. Ultra-processed foods. If it comes in a shiny wrapper, toss it. You don't need it. Vegetable and seed oils. So these are things like canola, soy, corn oil. That is estrogenic trash. Get rid of it. Any soy-heavy fake health food, don't need that. All of the sugar bombs, so soda, candy, baked goods, ditch it. Alcohol, more on this later, but got bad news, guys. That's a testosterone killer. And then finally, skipping meals or extreme fasting marathons. Don't do that. That's not doing your testosterone any favors either. So look, intermittent fasting has its place, but for most guys over 50 trying to reclaim their testosterone, starving yourself is a fast track to hormonal collapse. And then finally, step number 5 on eating like a man is to eat like a man with a mission. This isn't about tracking every gram or obsessing about food. It's about asking yourself this one simple question every time you eat. Is this fueling my fire or is this putting it out? Because your food isn't just calories, it's code. It tells your body what kind of man you're trying to become. Eat like a scared dieter and you're going to shrink. Eat like a king on a mission and you're going to rise. All right, so final word here on fueling. You don't need a diet plan. You need a fuel strategy designed for a high-performance, hormone-dominant man who refuses to be average. So here it is. Eat real food. Eat enough of it. Get plenty of protein. Eat like your masculinity depends on it, because, guys, it does. Okay, guys, so there you go. We've built the foundation with powerful fuel. It's time to layer in the most potent testosterone builder of all, and that's strength training. So nothing's going to flip your hormonal switch back on faster than picking up some heavy iron with purpose. Okay, guys, we've cleaned up our fuel. Now it's time to flip the switch and send a very clear, very strong message to our body and to our central nervous system. I'm not done. I'm not soft. I'm not going quietly. I'm here to build, to fight, to lead, and I need the strength to do it. That's the message we want to send. And that message, it's delivered through training. But not just any training. It's not bouncing on a Bosu ball. It's not curling soup cans. It's not jogging in place while you're watching some daytime TV. If you want to naturally raise testosterone, you're going to need to train with intensity, intention, and grit. You'll need to train like a man. So let's talk about why strength training is testosterone's best friend. Every time you train with intensity, especially with heavy compound lifts, your body produces a powerful hormonal response. Testosterone, that's your master male hormone, growth hormone, which is going to help you build muscle and recover, and endorphins. These are going to be your natural mood boosters. But it's not just biology, it's psychological as well. When you push heavy weight, when you really challenge your limits, you build mental toughness, resilience, and confidence. And guess what? That internal shift, that new identity, it feeds back into your physiology. You train like a beast and your body starts to believe it. All right, guys, so let's talk about how to train like a man over 50 and still dominate. So let's break this down. Number 1, I want you guys to lift heavy, but lift smart. So think 3 to 4 strength training sessions a week. That's probably the sweet spot for most of you guys. I want you to think about intensity over volume. So focused, efficient sessions versus, say, long, sloppy ones. I want you to use the principles of progressive overload. In other words, you're going to gradually increase your weights, your reps, and your difficulty over time. I want you guys to lift with purpose. I want you to lift like it matters. Next, I want you to prioritize compound movements. These are your testosterone triggering staples. So things like squats, barbell back squats, deadlifts, bench press, overhead press, pull-ups, chin-ups, dips, rows, lunges. These types of movements hit multiple muscle groups. They challenge your nervous system and they create that hormonal cascade that you're after. Forget the fancy machines. I want you to pick up heavy things, put them down, and then repeat. Okay, so now we're picking up some heavy things, putting them down. We're working out like a man. I want you to walk like you're a man on a mission. This is the secret sauce I really feel like doesn't get the accolades it deserves. A daily walking practice, especially in that 7,000 to 10,000 steps a day, is going to improve things like your insulin sensitivity, your fat metabolism, your recovery, your mood, vitamin D if you're doing it outdoors, and yes, your testosterone. Now look, walking isn't cardio, it's foundation. You were not built to sit all day. Move often, move with purpose. Okay, so we're lifting some heavy ass weights. We are getting our steps in. Next up, I want you guys to sprint occasionally, like sprint like your life depends on it. Once, maybe twice a week for those of you that are a little more advanced, throw in short, high intensity sprints. Now, this could be just all out sprinting at your track. This could be hill sprints. This could be sled pushes, assault bikes, rower intervals. But the idea here is you want to keep these workouts short and sharp. These are going to help spike your growth hormone and testosterone without wrecking your recovery. So think of sprints as a shot of rocket fuel. You're going to want to use them wisely, but definitely use them. And now, finally, here's what not to do when we're training like a man. So let's talk about the testosterone wreckers disguised as quote-unquote exercise. First up, and this is the biggest T killer I see in a lot of guys, and that's the chronic cardio. So think 60-minute runs 6 days a week. That is crushing your testosterone. Lifting heavy every single day without any recovery, that's crushing your testosterone. Doing the same safe workout week after week without any progressive overload, without changing things up, killing your testosterone. Ignoring your mobility, sleep, or stress, absolute testosterone killer. And also, I'll put in here, never pushing yourself past the comfort zone, killing your testosterone. So if your current workout feels easy, predictable, or routine, you're not training, you're just sweating. Guys, the idea here is that we want to train with purpose. We want to train with fire. We want to train with brotherhood. We don't need to train like a pro athlete, but you do need to train like a man with a family to protect, a legacy to build, and a fire to stoke. Train for strength. Train for capability. Train for presence. Train to walk into any room knowing that you can handle whatever happens. Bottom line, strength training is non-negotiable if you want to raise your testosterone. And look, it's not about getting ripped. It's not about six-pack abs. It's about getting dangerous again. Your body was built to be challenged, not coddled. Put something heavy in your hands and reclaim your edge. All right, men, now we've got the fuel, we've got the training, but none of this matters if you're not recovering like a king. Because get this, testosterone's not built in the gym. It's built while you sleep. Yeah, while you sleep. And this gets missed a lot. So let's clear something up right now. Recovery is not weakness, rest isn't laziness, and sleep is not optional. If you want to be a high-performance man, one who's strong, sharp, and hormonally optimized, you're going to need to treat recovery like a mission-critical operation. Because here's the truth most of us guys miss. You can lift heavy, you can eat like a beast, you can be doing everything right in the gym, but if you're not recovering like a king, your testosterone is going to crash and burn. Let's break this down, and we're going to start with the absolute foundation here, the most fundamental thing you can do when it comes to recovery, and that's sleep. Think of sleep as your hormonal reset button. Your testosterone production happens while you're asleep, again, specifically during that deep phase of sleep. And get this, most of us guys over 50 are walking around in a chronic sleep deficit and don't even realize it. late nights, early mornings, phones in bed, Netflix binges, and they wonder why their energy's gone, their belly's growing, and their drive is disappearing. Look, sleep is your anabolic engine. It's when your body rebuilds muscle, balances hormones, clears mental fog, and restores your edge. So here's your T-boosting sleep checklist. If you want to turn sleep into a testosterone weapon, here's what I want you to do. Number 1, have a consistent bed and wake time. So go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time every night. Yes, even on the weekends. Number 2, make your room cold, dark, and quiet. Create a conducive sleep environment. Number 3, shut down screens, all electronic screens, at least 60 minutes before bed. That blue light is spiking your cortisol, it's inhibiting melatonin production, and whatever you're watching on that screen is probably not conducive to a healthy night's sleep. Number 4, stop eating a couple hours before bedtime. So don't be snacking right up until bedtime. Number 5, cut out caffeine by noon. And then finally, get 10 to 15 minutes of sunlight as early in the morning as you can. This is going to help reset your circadian rhythm, ensuring a healthy night's sleep that night. Look, guys, sleep is not a luxury. It's your edge restoration system. I want you to prioritize it, guard it, make it sacred. All right, next up, let's just hit stress again. Know that stress is your testosterone's kryptonite, and just understand that our silent killer here really is this insidious chronic stress. So we live in this world that keeps men constantly activated, constantly reacting. Deadlines, bills, traffic, noise, family demands, screens, never offline lives. And every time your body feels threatened by one of these small things, it's going to pump out some cortisol, which is your stress hormone. Now, cortisol is not our enemy. It's part of our survival system. We need cortisol. But when it stays elevated chronically day after day, that suppresses testosterone production. Why? Because your body thinks it's in danger. And it says, hey, this is not the time we need to be focused on building muscle, having sex, or chasing greatness. We're just trying to survive here. So we want to learn how to actively crush stress. Look, guys, you can't eliminate stress. There are a lot of stressors in your life you can't even control, but you can control how you react to stress. And here's a few of my personal favorite stress-busting activities. Number 1, daily walks, especially when they're done outdoors. Number 2, deep breathing. I'm a big fan of box breathing. If you're not familiar with that, just Google it. But taking even 2 minutes of box breathing in the middle of the day when you're feeling anxious and overwhelmed does wonders. Cold showers, cold plunges. These are intense but testosterone-friendly resets for a lot of us. I'm a big fan of daily journaling and daily prayer, or some sort of a gratitude practice. Helps to unload my mental clutter. I'm also a big fan of phone-free mornings and phone-free evenings. Stop reacting to that chaos and give myself a chance to settle down. And of course, lifting heavy and then resting hard. Look, man, calm is not going to happen to you. You must actively create calm in your life, because calm isn't just peace, it's testosterone access. All right, so earlier in the nutrition, Eat Like a Man section, we talked about alcohol. And I said we're going to address that later. Let's talk about booze. I think it's time. Know this. First, there is no healthy amount of alcohol. It's kind of like saying there's a healthy amount of cigarettes. There isn't. Alcohol tanks your testosterone, full stop. Even a couple of nights of drink can wreck your sleep, disrupt your liver function, spike estrogen, and kill your drive. And look, I'm not saying you can never enjoy another bourbon or a beer, but if you're drinking every night just to unwind, you're trading your edge for a buzz, and I'm here to tell you that's a bad trade. All right, enough of that, guys. Bottom line here, know this. Sleep isn't soft, it's strategic warfare. Stress isn't optional, but staying stressed is a choice. Recovery isn't passive, it's powerful. And booze, decide what you want more, the buzz or the edge. If you're serious about reclaiming your testosterone, your energy, and your masculinity, then how you recover matters just as much as how you train. All right, guys, so let's dig into the next layer here, because even if you're eating clean, you're training hard, you're sleeping like a beast, you're managing your stress, you're recovering, if your environment is loaded with hormone-wrecking toxins, you're still under attack. So let's dive into the whole environmental toxins thing here, because this is the final front in the battle for our testosterone that most of us never see coming, and that is our physical environment. That's right. It's the stuff that you touch, you spray, you rub on your skin, you cook your food in, you drink from every single day. This daily toxic overload is quietly wrecking your hormones. Look, guys, we live in the modern age, and we live in a toxic chemical soup. And the huge number of everyday products in our homes, our bathrooms, our kitchens, even our water are full of compounds that mimic estrogen in our body. They're called xenoestrogens or endocrine disruptors, and they throw your hormonal balance straight into the toilet. So if you are doing everything right and you're still not seeing results, this could be the hidden leak draining your tank. So where are these toxins hiding? Here's the brutal truth. You might be starting every day by rubbing, spraying, and eating your way into hormonal chaos before you eat breakfast. Let's run through just a few of the worst offenders. In your bathroom, things like shampoo, body wash, deodorants, especially those that have parabens, phthalates, or fragrance. Cologne and aftershave loaded with all these synthetic fragrances. Sunscreens, moisturizers with hormone disrupting chemicals. Toxins are hiding in our underarm deodorant, in our toothpaste, in our floss, in our mouthwash. They're everywhere. Now, moving on to the kitchen, toxins are hiding in all of our nonstick cookware. So any sort of Teflon thing, just think Teflon equals toxic. The plastic containers and water bottles, hello, BPAs and microplastics. Reheating your food in plastic in the microwave, big no-no. And then, of course, all through the house, we have things like air fresheners and scented candles. These are estrogen bombs, household cleaners with unlisted chemicals. And of course, finally, our tap waters, often loaded with heavy metals, chlorine, fluoride, and the list goes on and on. So just note that I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by this, but I want you to know the facts. You don't need to become a tinfoil hat hermit or some kind of crazed conspiracy theorist, but you do need to be intentional. You need to be aware, and you need to educate yourself. So here are a few simple, high-impact swaps that will protect your testosterone. You're not going to eliminate every toxin. That's not the goal here. But a few smart swaps can dramatically reduce the chemical assault on your system and free your body up to produce testosterone like it was designed to. So here's how to get started. I love starting in the bathroom. So let's start with your personal care product. First of all, ditch the Axe body spray. You're not a teenage boy. Ditch the drugstore soap. Switch to some sort of unscented or essential oil-based product. You're looking for things that say paraben-free or phthalate-free or fragrance-free right on the label. You want to use natural deodorants and shampoos. Your wife's probably going to thank you as well on these. And skip the cologne. Your strength is your scent now. All right. Now, guys, another resource for you here. If you want to download an app, it's the EWG. That stands for Environmental Working Group. So it's EWG.org. But if you just Google EWG in the App Store, they have an app, and you can actually scan the barcode of all of these personal care items and even food and other cleaning items in your home. And it'll give you a red light, yellow light, green light on these products. So that's a really good way to get started. All right, so that's our bathrooms. Let's start there. Let's make some healthy swaps there. Next up, food and water. I want you guys to use glass and stainless steel for water and food storage as much as possible. Get rid of the plastics. Get rid of the plastic Tupperware. Replace it with glass Tupperware. And guys, never, never, never microwave your food in plastic. I see all of these different foods, these Franken foods in the freezer section and frankly the refrigerator section as well. It says slit the plastic, microwave for 3 minutes. Please don't. You are killing your testosterone every time you do that. And then finally, for your water, I want you to filter your water. Even a basic Brita, that's not great, but it's better than nothing. But really upgrade if you can. I know here personally in my home, we have a reverse osmosis system that also has a remineralization system on there, but upgrade your water if you can. And then finally, in your home environment, look for natural cleaning products. So you're going to find these types of products are going to have ingredients like vinegar and baking soda. And to be honest, if you just have vinegar and baking soda, you can clean pretty much damn near anything with those things, right? But again, use your EWG app and look for cleaning brands that don't have these environmental toxins in there. And guys, Toss all of these synthetic air fresheners out of your house. So this is going to include things like your Glade plugins, the little pine tree in your car, and the little, bounce dryer sheets. Get rid of all that crap. You don't need it. And then finally, let's swap out that non-stick cookware for cast iron, ceramic, or stainless steel. And guys, again, I just want to re-emphasize, this is not about perfection. It is about progress. It's about power. You don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight, but know that every positive change you make takes a weight off your hormonal system. Every chemical you eliminate gives your testosterone a chance to rise. This is about taking back control, owning your space, protecting your edge like every man should. All right, guys, so here's the bottom line. Your home, your habits, your hygiene routine, they all matter. You can't out-train or out-eat an estrogen-soaked environment. Don't wait until your energy's gone, your sex drive's flatlined, or your doctor says TRT is your only option. Guys, clean it up, take command, and reclaim your hormonal high ground. All right, guys, let's bring all this together here because testosterone isn't just about muscles. It's not just about your libido or energy. It's about stepping fully into the man you were built to be. So let's talk about what this really means for you. Let's pull back and zoom out for just a second here because we've talked about the food. We've talked about the training. We've talked about sleep and stress and, of course, environmental toxins. And sure, testosterone absolutely affects things like energy, muscles, sex drive, fat burning, focus, and motivation. But it's bigger than that. This is about more than just performance. This is about masculinity, about who you are, about how you show up, about what you were built to do. Guys, I need you to understand that low T equals low drive, and that equals low impact. When your testosterone is low, everything feels off. You're going to hesitate, second guess. You're going to lose your edge. You're going to pull back instead of charging forward. You get reactive instead of proactive. You start showing up in life as a shadow of the man you used to be, or worse, the man you could have been. And here's what makes this so dangerous. Low testosterone doesn't just kill your libido, it kills your courage, your clarity, your conviction. That quiet fire that once burned in your gut starts to fade. You stop initiating, you stop leading, you stop conquering. And that's when men start dying while they're still alive. But when testosterone rises, everything changes. Your energy comes roaring back. Your strength, you're rebuilding. Your sex drive, reignited. Your mind, clear, focused, sharp. Your confidence, you're dangerous again. You stop reacting and you start leading. You stand taller, you speak bolder, you stop asking for permission and start walking in purpose. Because testosterone isn't just a hormone, it's a signal, it's a call, it's a reminder of who you are. You weren't put on this earth to sit on the sidelines. You were born to be a force, to build, to protect, to provide, to lead your wife, your children, your community, to show up with fire in your belly, strength in your body, and conviction in your soul. And when your testosterone rises, naturally, powerfully, intentionally, you're no longer a man drifting through life. You become a man on a mission. And look, we say this all the time on the show, masculinity is not toxic. It's needed now more than ever. We live in a culture that wants men soft, passive, apologetic, safe, tame, neutered. But that's not who you are. That's not a guy who clicks play on a podcast titled The Alpha Edge. You don't have to bend to the narrative. You don't have to suppress your strength, shrink your presence, or silence your voice. Masculinity isn't toxic. Masculinity is sacred. And when it's fueled by integrity, purpose, and discipline, it's one of the most powerful forces for good on this planet. The world doesn't need fewer strong men. It needs more. So if you want to raise your testosterone, then start living like a man again. Take full ownership of your life. No excuses, no blame. Inside our group, the Alpha Edge, that's one of our core tenets we start our guys with, is radical responsibility for everything in our life. Get clear on your purpose. Why are you here? Who needs you at full strength? Build a body that reflects strength and self-respect. Establish boundaries like a man who protects what matters. Surround yourself with other strong, mission-driven men. Speak truth, walk tall, and stop apologizing for who you are. Because every time you show up with strength, leadership, and presence, your body takes the hint and your testosterone follows. Guys, here's the bottom line. You're not just chasing a better body. You're not just trying to feel younger. You're answering a call. You're waking up the warrior. You're stepping into the man God designed you to be. This is about masculine revival, hormonal restoration, and legacy reclamation. You want more testosterone? Then start living like the kind of man who deserves it. Because you don't need a prescription. You need a purpose. All right, guys, so we've laid it all out here. You now know why your testosterone is tanked. You know what's been killing it. Food, stress, sleep, toxins, apathy. You know how to fix it. You're going to fuel like a man, train like a savage, recover like a king, detox your life. You're going to live with fire. Now comes the hard truth. No one's coming to save you. Not your doctor, not your trainer, not your spouse, not some $99 a dose testosterone booster you saw on Facebook or Instagram, and definitely not a needle full of synthetic hormones. And look, to be clear, I'm not here to demonize TRT, testosterone replacement therapy. I think it is wonderful. I think it's fantastic that we have that option. And for some men, that is 100% the right move. But far too many of us are reaching for that shortcut before we've done the real work. So look, if you've never dialed in your nutrition, I mean really dialed it in, if you've never trained consistently with intensity, if you've never prioritized deep, high-quality sleep, if you've never addressed chronic stress, if you've never cleaned up your toxic environment, if you've never built structure, discipline, and purpose into your life, then you really haven't earned the right to outsource your edge to TRT yet. Because this isn't just about fixing symptoms. This is about becoming a different kind of man. You need a standard, not a script. The world's only too happy to hand you a prescription. This is just what happens to men after 50. Take the pill, rub the gel, accept the decline. Be safe, be quiet, be soft. It's all downhill from here. Look, you can take that prescription and burn it because you were not built to fade. You were built to rise. Your strength, your vitality, your fire, it's not gone. It's just been buried. And guess what? You don't inject masculinity, you earn it. You want high testosterone? Then raise your standards. Because that's what testosterone really responds to. Things like discipline, challenge, grit, vision, brotherhood, purpose. Start living like a man with a mission, and your hormones are going to follow. You don't need a new protocol. You need a new identity. And that identity isn't found in your blood work. It's found in your habits, in your actions, and in your daily decisions. Let the average in you fade. You were built for more. Let average men chase hacks. Let them inject without effort. Let them sedate themselves with alcohol, comfort, and excuses. But not you. You're not here to be average. You're not here to blend in. You're here to build legacy, lead with strength, love with fire, die with nothing left in the tank. All right, guys, here's my final challenge for those of you who are ready to earn your edge and not just raise your testosterone, but reclaim your masculinity, your strength, your presence, and your power. It's time to stop waiting. Stop drifting. Stop outsourcing. Start showing up like a man you were created to be, because the edge you're chasing, it's not in a bottle. It's not in a shot. It's in your discipline. It's in your mindset, your actions, your standards. Your edge is earned, not injected. And guys, if you're ready to go deeper, if you're serious about building the body, the mindset, and the life that reflects the high-test man you're becoming, then I invite you to join us inside the Alpha Edge. Look, we're not a program. We are a brotherhood of men who are done playing small. We are men who are eating for fuel, training with purpose, leading our families, owning our masculinity, and chasing greatness together. This is where the fire gets stoked. And if that sounds like you and you're interested in learning more, just check out the link in the show notes here. But men, let's get after it. Let's build your edge starting today. Okay, men, that's our show for this week. Don't forget to download our free guide titled How to Raise Your Testosterone Naturally. You can find the download link in the show notes for this episode on whatever app you're listening to this podcast on. If you've enjoyed today's show, here are 3 ways you can support us. Number 1, share this episode with a friend. Number 2, make sure to like and follow this show, and please consider leaving us a 5-star review. Number 3, give us a follow over at Instagram. We're at Alpha Edge Army, so that's Alpha Edge Army all run together. I really appreciate you men taking the time to listen, and until next week, stay strong.